And on Capitol Hill, House Republican leaders have put forward billions of dollars in foreign aid bills for Ukraine, Israel, and allies in the Indo-Pacific. Speaker Mike Johnson will likely need Democratic votes to get them over the finish line. Joining us now is New York Democratic Congressman Greg Meeks. He is the ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, thank you so much for being with us. As we just mentioned, the Speaker has unveiled these 4 separate bills to deal with Israel, Ukraine, the Indo-Pacific, and other national security matters. Democrats insisted that the House should pass the Senate version of the bill that keeps all of these priorities together. Now it seems Democrats are willing to move forward with splitting them up. So what's changed here?
What we're looking to do in as a timely fashion as possible is to make sure that Ukraine, Israel, the Indo-Pacific, and humanitarian aid is out. Ukraine, for example, is in desperate need. It has no more ammunition. It cannot continue the war that it has been winning for the last 2 years because we were giving them what they needed. And so the best way to do that would be to pass the bipartisan Senate bill. 70 members of the Senate voted for it. If the Speaker would have just put it on the floor, I believe we would have 300 votes for it. It would go immediately to the president's desk. And so now we're playing these little games, I guess. And what Democrats have decided that it is so important for us to get it done that if they have to do it in these 4 trenches, but then put it together in one rule so that it goes over to the Senate and we can get something passed that way, we're willing to compromise and try to get that passed so that we can get it to the president's desk. And President Biden has said, if that occurs, he will sign the bill immediately. So nothing has changed with reference to what the content of it is. What has changed is the delay that has continued to happen with reference to the Republicans and their disorganization and them fighting among themselves. And so today, and even right now, we're still waiting for the Freedom Caucus and others to decide what they're going to do in regards to the rule and now some amendments that are being proposed.
And speaking of the rules, you were in the Rules Committee meeting earlier as they were trying to craft this rule that will guide action on these bills. At this point, do you have any updates on that? Where does this stand? And will you and other Democrats support the rule?
I haven't seen the final package yet, so we're still there. It has not been set yet. There's still negotiations taking place as we are talking right now. And so, I have to reserve any decision as to what will take place until we actually see the rule. I know Leader Jeffries is working very hard to see the rule and to make certain determinations, and I'm going to wait to see what he has to say about it also. But it's still not a finished product, Nicole. We're still waiting on the Republicans to come up with their final decisions. In the Rules Committee today, we saw Republicans going after Republicans and some saying that they would not vote for the rule. How many will not vote for the rule? All of those things are still up in the air. And we have to wait and see. And it just shows that they cannot run the government. That's the problem that we're having here.
Yeah, well, we know earlier that there was also some speculation that this rule could include a change to the motion to vacate, but the Speaker has now said that he won't change the rules. He said in a social media post that the motion to vacate from a single member has harmed the office and that he was encouraged to raise the threshold, but that any rule change requires a majority of the House, which we do not have. What is your reaction to that?
My reaction is the dysfunction of the Republican Party. Look, already, which is very rare ever in the history of the United States, we've had 2 speakers in 1 term, and now they're looking to do maybe a 3rd. It's complete dysfunctioning of the Republican Party. And so, as you can see, anything that we've had to pass, keeping the government open, for example, it took Democrats to do that. And so we will continue to be the adults in the room. We will continue to look and listen and see what can be done so that our allies in Ukraine, Israel, the Indo-Pacific, humanitarian aid gets into those hands. but we've got to make sure that it is not held to the irresponsible actions of the Freedom Caucus or some Republicans. I still think that ultimately, what the speaker should do is put the bill on the floor, and there's a lot of Republicans, Nicole, who have told President Zelensky, for example, I was in the room with them, that they will make sure that they vote to get the things that Ukrainians need. So then I would then call on them to sign the motion of discharge. 194 Democrats have already signed on, 1 Republican. We welcome 20 others to sign on. And there's been 20 that has said they see and know that the times has found us and we must get this aid to our allies. So I will be calling on all of them to sign the motion of discharge if their dysfunction continues so that we can do the right thing by our allies.
All right, Congressman Gregory Meeks, we want to thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.